So you've mentioned involving professionals and other advisors in the process. What role do lawyers have in family mediation?
This is a bit of a hot potato in Ireland. It's a bit of a tricky situation. The answer isn't entirely straightforward. What you can encounter a lot of the time as a family mediator is that lawyers might have a tendency to be either over involved, so feel that they really need to direct or control the process or negotiate on behalf of their clients, or the other extreme, which we see increasingly, where lawyers are saying, go to mediation. I don't want to know anything until you come back with your mediated agreement. So don't bother ringing me until the mediation process is over. Neither of these approaches is ideal. The first isn't because at the end of the day, it's about the parties. The parties are the ones who are going to have to live with these decisions into the future, not the lawyers. And the parties are the people who know their own circumstances, and particularly their children's circumstances best. The hands-off approach isn't ideal because then you could find yourself as a mediator being faced with parties who don't have all the information they need. So who don't have the input from the legal advisors on whether an agreement is actually going to be workable. And that can put you in a very awkward position as a mediator, particularly as a mediator who might have a decent knowledge of family law, where you might be aware that what parties are proposing is not going to work or might encounter legal challenges, but the parties don't have or won't engage with their solicitors. For example, I had a phone call from a potential client just last week who said, well, I've been to my solicitor and he gave me your name and he said you would take care of everything. And I would come out of the mediation process with my divorce and everything would be fine. Now, that is unfortunately inaccurate. And I don't know whether the lawyer involved just didn't want to deal with it or not. But so the relationship between lawyers and mediation is challenging. I think there are a few reasons for that are worth looking at. One of them being that most lawyers understand how emotional and challenging the family mediation space is and how unsuitable the adversarial legal system is to regulating the fallout from relationship breakdown, and therefore encourage their parties to try to take ownership of the decision making. So prefer to keep a hands-off approach really and not interfere in that decision making. The other factor is that so many people who are coming to family mediation might already have been in financial difficulties or at least a tight situation and are now going to mediation because they can't afford to litigate. A fully contested divorce or judicial separation case here can take 4 years and cost anything up to €100,000 per person. So mediation is going to be significantly more cost effective than that. So parties will come to mediation saying, I don't want to pay my lawyer until this is all done and dusted because I can't afford to. And that creates obviously a series of ethical dilemmas for the family mediator. So really the way out of this is, I think, education for lawyers. So really for lawyers to engage in a dialogue with mediators and vice versa, so that they can be clear on what their role is. So as a mediator, I'd like to say to a lawyer, this is what I need you to do. You know, I'd like to send my clients to you when they're beginning to formulate their options, so you can steer them on whether this is a good or a bad idea. Then, you know, we'd like a seamless transition between the end of the mediation process and formalization of the agreement, which might sometimes require the input of a court. But most importantly, that we can work together rather than against each other. And that we can work together to support the clients. You know, we're happy to we mediators are happy to manage the softer stuff, if you like the emotions, like the parenting relationship, like how to negotiate, how to introduce a new partner to one's children. But we need the lawyers to help out on the finances, the assets, and what to do if a couple wants to separate, but the bank won't let them out of a joint mortgage, which is a very common dilemma.